Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. So, first thing this morning, I released a video that was a collective message and it got pretty long. And at the very end, we kind of had I felt like we were dropping it off a cliff. And so, I didn't know if you guys wanted to go a little further with the story. And based off of the reactions that I saw on that video, you guys, some of you did, a bunch of you did enough to say, all right, then let's definitely follow through with the story because and if you didn't watch part one, you'll still need to go check that out. You'll find it under the video tab, and you'll know I'm in the same top. So that'll tell you that it's that video. But um, it basically we're going to pick up right where we left off in that video, which was we had somebody that treated an empress pretty poorly once upon a time. They were still very much in player mode, very unserious. The empress let them go, released them completely, moved on with her life. And she, at the end of the story, was like very close to like expecting to meet someone really important. She kind of had a sense that a great love was coming in. But interestingly enough, they had shifted their energy and they kind of had a ton of regrets about their past behavior. They were showing up as like three or four different kings. And we left it as they had like the Fool card. They were going to take this big old leap. They were really stressed out about it too. So to me, I was saying at the end of the video, like, I don't see them getting back together. But on the other hand, who knows what's going to happen when he takes his leap. So we're going to find out right now. We have Wheel of Fortune. This just came out in the Ophiuchus video, only I put it back in the deck it belongs in, and now here it is. So I don't know if it's going to be linked at all to Ophiuchus's storyline or not, but we have a Two of Cups in the reverse. So he's over here ready to take this leap, right? He's our masculine in the story from part one. He's definitely saying, and we did have a Wheel of Fortune at the end of that first video as well. And I was like, okay, he thinks it's really time. So again, he's going for it. But based off of his behavior in the past, it does not look like the Empress has been holding on to these fond and fuzzy memories of, oh, it's you and me, babe. Somehow I'll always hold space for you. Not at all. Now, just because it's the right time for him to have like grown and maybe reach out to someone like her, it still does not mean that she somehow holds love for him anymore. Maybe that's part of his lesson. We said that her lesson might have been a little bit of like dealing with him and recognizing like, hey, he was a catalyst for me to let him go because I'm not going to deal with players. We have her in very much the Ace of Cups self-love energy. We do not have her in holding love for him kind of energy. So if he's taking this leap of faith toward her, I don't know that she's going to be at all in the same head or heart space that he's in, right? He's been feeling like he wishes he could do it all over again. He's been feeling like he blew it with an amazing Empress. He's been going through all these feels, whereas she, in part one, we kind of saw like she maybe doesn't remember him all so well. And then we went on in part one and we saw that she did remember him. I think we had like a Six of Cups and a Two of Cups, but they were like sideways. Because I kind of felt like she got over him. Hi, Annette. She kind of got over him, and she's definitely in an energy of practicing self-love. So I think if anything, even here, you see she's kind of like, oh my gosh, serious? It's you? I mean, I wasn't trying to call you in. I'm pretty sure because I'm in this really great energy. I was pretty sure that a great love is going to be someone I'm going to meet, but I didn't really expect it to be you. We have a Nine of Wands. It could stir up a little bit of sting for her. I'm not going to lie. This could have been way back in Year of the Tiger that this relationship ended, that she had to walk away from him because he was being super immature. You don't mistreat an Empress. She does remember him, but she remembers him with a little bit of sting. And I don't see her like stepping down at all from her energy of self-love. Integration of somatics. I mean, she might, though, notice that there's a big difference in him. He may be calmer. He may be way more serious. She may be able to tell the difference in him as he approaches her. She may even be like, it's a damn shame I didn't meet this version of you once upon a time, because I met a knight. I didn't meet a king. I didn't get treated nice. I got treated like the way a knight treats people. Okay, hang on. She does not feel like she's this magical bond to them. 10 of Wands, but this definitely rips open a bit of a wound. Them showing back up definitely like tears a band-aid off and kind of re-wounds things, because it's like, okay, so even for her, there is some unhealed, 9 of Wands says wounded warrior, but that means we still have a wound. 10 of Wands sideways says, oh, this does actually still sting. Yeah, you didn't treat me good. So she's not gonna be like, oh, hi, we'll just conveniently forget everything that happened in the past. Nor is she like, monster, be gone. There's nothing oh so theatrical, but it's more like, oh, yeah, we had a real unsavory ending, real unsavory encounter. But I remember that it's pretty disappointing. 6 of Wands. She's going to hold herself in some serious high regard, high esteem right now, also. I don't know if she's going to give him any satisfaction of like anything other than saying the truth, which is, yeah, I remember you were a big disappointment. And then I moved on. I mean, she may tell him point blank, and I don't think her intention is to wound, but I think she does want him to know, when I stopped thinking about you and when you weren't in my life anymore. You notice how we have the goblin head? That's when my whole life got a lot better, though. And I don't think she's saying it to be nasty or to inflict wounds on him. I think it's just to acknowledge, here's what actually happened for me. I was hurt. Yep. And it was an unpleasant thing. And we didn't have closure. But then I give myself closure, and my life has been really good since then. We've got the 5 of Pentacles. This could be devastating for him to hear on one hand, because this is like, I'm feeling somebody's tummy drop right now. Like, oh my God, this is horrible. My behavior was horrible. The reality of, and I think for him to hear that her say, but my life is really great now, and I've pretty much put you in a compartment somewhere in the way recesses of my mind, and I'm not hurt over this anymore. My life's been amazing. I think that's also like, for him, it's like a gut punch, because it's like, her life's amazing. I didn't help her at all. I didn't build it with her. I wasn't there with her. She's had a whole life without me in this time that I was a player and then blew it. And then here I want another chance with her. I wish I could do it all over again. But in truth, time has passed and I haven't been there. I didn't get to see her smile. I didn't get to be there beside her. We've got a 3 of Cups. And I think then his mind flashes to, what has her life been? Has she dated other people? Is she in love with somebody else? Is she, what's going on in her life? Other people have been a part of her world. I don't know her friends. I don't know anything about what's going on with her. Well, yeah, that's kind of what happens when you're not around. Okay, hang on. Let's go back over here. This universe with the Wheel of Fortune here. Is this what the universe is like? It's his time to come in and take his medicine. It's going to suck. You want to go back to somebody that you didn't treat well. And what do you think? You think they're going to be like, yay, you're back. Get the parade ready. No, that's not going to happen. This is your time to cry. So the universe, I'm surprised we don't have like the Justice card, because the universe is like, listen, you have a big lesson to learn. Oh, well, we have the Devil. That's just as tough, honestly. Yes, Leah, this is part 2 for today's collective message. This is, it's not the Justice card, but it may as well be. It's a little bit like, listen, you're showing up in her world. You're taking that leap to go talk to her, but you're just simply finding out the impact of your cheating behavior, your unserious behavior. Maybe you're really sad now because she's not interested in you, and she's telling you point blank. So what happened is, it was super disappointing with the way you were, but then I moved on and my life's been amazing. I mean, if that sucks, if that's hurtful, that's also the truth. So they're just going to have to suck it up and deal with that. And I think that is what they're dealing with right now. They're getting it's kind of like having the mirror, showing them how they actually behaved. Or maybe we could say it's like, if you could watch a movie of your own life and how your actions impacted somebody else. That's basically what they're getting, is a bit of a rundown of, yeah, I had a terrible time with you, and then my life got better once you weren't in it anymore, because you were kind of ghastly, This makes them very, very, very sad to hear because they're really confronting their own toxic behavior now. With the Seven of Cups, this could really throw them for a loop. We knew that they were going to try coming in, and I didn't know how that was going to go. At the end of part one this morning, I was like, I don't know how this is going to happen, or what the purpose of this is. It could throw them really off guard because this is not a lovely, like, hey, let's hug it out and be besties. They're having to be confronted with a whole nother layer of their behavior and the absence of a sweet, loving homecoming. And I don't think they were hoping for that exactly. We knew they were nervous at the end of part one because they had the Nine of Swords, but I don't know if they realized it would be this hard to be confronted with their own bad behavior in just kind of a matter of fact way. It To me, this says they're going to be wondering, what the hell do I do now? Do I ask for a second chance? Do I try to explain myself? Do I just profusely say I'm sorry? Honestly, maybe this is the best thing they could ever do, is to say, I don't ever want to be that person again. Like this, I hate the fact that that's who I was, with the death card. How do we sometimes make a big change in life? It's when we really come to the end of the road, when we can no longer do what we've been doing. Now, oftentimes we don't change anything in life until it gets so incredibly uncomfortable that we have no other choice but to change. We Humans aren't really necessarily the best at making change if they're not pressured into it, by discomfort. I think that's usually the bigger motivator, even more so than reward, is discomfort. This is very uncomfortable for them. This is very, very, very sad. This is kind of stupefying, kind of horrible. It's way worse than they thought it was going to be. For all their worries, it's way, way, way worse to face her, knowing that they're in love with her and that they screwed it up, and have her be cordial, but just matter of fact with them. It's way worse than what they could have imagined, which is actually, in this storyline, it's good because it hits them with the reality check of, this is, I can't believe that's who I have been. I think in that moment they're light years away from who they used to be. I think that there is a profound shift in them because I think that this is them taking responsibility for it, them actually understanding it at a much deeper level, and them genuinely saying to for them own selves, that is not at all the person that I want to be. A cheat, somebody who hurts a person that I love, somebody who has, treats them so poorly that their life is better when I'm not in it anymore, because that's how much ruckus I caused to them. And this is somebody that I love. I mean, that hits hard for sure. But I think they needed to hear it so that they can understand, like, what needs to change. They don't go off and boo-hoo, right? They actually change. Messenger of Wands in the reverse. They don't feel like they can ask her, so you want to love me again though? They're not doing that. But they're also not running away and boo-hooing and saying, I'm so sad. This is so upsetting. Yes, they're very sad, but it promotes change. To me, that speaks volumes about them being way more mature then. If you can hear the worst thing about yourself that is also the truth about your past behavior, and instead of you sitting there and crying or just, boo-hooing, you make a change. You grab a hold of what you were, what you've been confronted with, and then you say, I can't change what I already did, but I won't ever be that person again. I would say that's a pretty, like, strong coming to Jesus moment. In that moment, they would actually be someone who will be a better partner. I don't know if she wants him back, but it's bizarre because them not trying to ask her out, them not trying to woo her, is actually also proof that they don't really think that their behavior warrants another chance. It's simply that they will not be that person anymore, which ironically is what makes them someone who would be a good match, maybe, if they've really made this significant, like, energy shift. Let's go over here. What happens with the two of them? Seven of Pentacles. Time has to still pass. These two, this first conversation is, I don't know, it's a big epiphany moment for them, but time passes and there is some kind of, with that King of Wands, there is maybe a kind of warmth. I don't know if this becomes more friendship. Knight of Cups. Now they're at some point they will approach, or they hope to approach, with an offer of love. But first, this is just, maybe these two have to start talking a little bit and seeing, you know, is there a change? I'm wondering, how is she reacting to all this as they're having this first conversation where he's kind of like taken aback. Queen of Swords sideways. She maybe can't read his reaction. She might be a little confused. I think it's because he's right in front of her very eyes. He's going through a pretty big life overhaul. Queen of Cups, interestingly enough, and maybe just because she is an Empress, that's what we saw earlier this morning in part one. Maybe because she's an Empress, which means she has the capacity to like be very empathic. Maybe she's like, as I tell them point blank, like, well, listen, it was super unpleasant. It was super disappointing when I was with you. And then, after you were out of my life actually got really good and I stopped thinking about you and, I got my self-confidence back and, I've had a good life without you. I think she is able to see the way they're processing this, right? And I said, it's like they have tremendous sorrow followed by like this acknowledgement of how toxic they were. And I kind of think she's realizing, like, I don't know exactly what's going on with them, as I've just told them point blank what I experienced with them. I can't quite read them, but for some reason it softens her. It's like, I think she can empathically read that sorrow, that, when somebody really is sorry for something and they really would do anything to change it, it's kind of palpable. It's kind of, some things you can't put into words, but you can feel it. You can see the regret. You can see this. Anybody who's ever, your dog goes and they eat the treats that they're not allowed to eat, and you look over and they're like, oh, the shame. I'm picturing it's a bit of that. Like it's very real. It's very raw, and it's not about words. It's about her empathically like softening a little bit because she's realizing, I'm not sure I'm reading them quite right, but something about my energy feels like I'm not trying to hurt them. I actually don't harbor like wrath or anger toward them at all. But I think it's because she's seeing this shift go on behind their eyes. She's seeing their emotional change. She's seeing something in them. This is very much somebody is altering who they are right in front of her eyes in the midst of this conversation. I don't think it's lip service. I don't think it's fake. I think this is really quite profound. But as far as like what happens with the two of them, we see they may have more conversations over the course of, 7 days, 7 weeks. There may be finally like a bit of warmth that creeps back in to either their conversation or creeps back into the energy between them. It may give him a sense of hope that maybe at some point he could potentially, like after kind of proving that he's a different person, maybe then he could try something more romantic. His greatest hope is that this could still be a Six of Cups, that someday maybe she'd still look at me like that. This is only just kind of etched out. We don't have it in full color. So I kind of think that he's not really sure that this is going to work, but he holds on to that hope for sure. There's that Justice card. It's like, it would serve me right if I never get another chance with her. But if there is a way to make amends, then I would. I mean, this whole story is about him trying to make amends. I let me go over to her for just a second, because I'm going to say, only because of that softness with the Queen of Cups that she's exuding, we have a Five of Cups. I was going to say she may actually feel differently about him, but that Five of Cups says, once again, it's like, yeah, but she's kind of let him go. Knight of Wands sideways. No, she's letting go of whatever distress there was over this. Look, there is a part of her that's still kind of attracted to him, especially with these subtle shifts and these very meaningful conversations and this slow thawing out of energy. I kind of think she's a little bit on the fence. She may still say, I am still attracted to him, but part of me, that's also why I want to stay away from him. Do I let him go, or is it that I've let go of any of the hurt? She's kind of in her head, not knowing what to do. Look, there's other people on this planet. She does not need to take him back. But I can see that there's an element of she's having a hard time fully letting him go now that he's seeming to be different. Please remember, this doesn't need to be a feminine. I don't read for genders. This could be masculine, feminine. This could be same-sex couple. All I can say is for her, this is tough for her to decide what she wants to do about this. Death card, because she really had gone beyond this. And then when circumstances change, sometimes our opinions about things change. She's asking herself, is this over and done? Or is this sometimes this is a resurrection, right? The death card leads to new beginnings. She's not going to know for a while what she wants to do. And I think that's probably good, because instant gratification of them getting to be back in her world and get to be her lover again.
Hey guys, I'm sorry. I know that did this little buffering thing that it does from time to time. So I'm sorry. I know there was a glitch and a little delay in that for a minute. But anyway, we got the King of Cups. And I was saying that I don't know that she's going to cheat herself out of, if she wants to give this person another chance, or if she still sees a change in him that makes her think, I am falling for this person, or I might want to still see what this holds for me. If she wants it, she'll let herself explore it. That's what I would say. She's not sure yet, though. There's definitely a thawing of energy. Look, he's very much in love with her. But, the way he messed things up at the beginning, all of this boils down to, could there be trust restored right now? Even she doesn't know the answer to that. I don't know how she's going to land on this. Let me just ask, is there somebody else coming in her life? Because we saw that at the end of part 1, where it seemed like she fully expected that she was going to meet somebody. And we have the Two of Pentacles, so yes, she is going to meet somebody else. Maybe this is good for her to have somebody else coming in so she can make a distinction. So Boy of Cups, unfortunately, she may not be that into the other person, because this feels like somebody might try to reach out to her, might try to get her interested, and she may only half-heartedly accept someone else's interest. We got a Four of Cups. She's really hooked on the past. You see all of the, ancient Greek pottery, and we've got, the Parthenon back here. She's very much submerged in thinking more about, is this person from my past who's resurfaced the one for me after all? She may blow off this new person, kind of ignore them. Let me just ask, universe, what's the advice to her on that? Page of Swords, Knight of Wands. See, I kind of think, look, this is not to rehash old wounds or anything, but she does need to remember, once upon a time, the person that she's thinking is oh so different, and although we can see that they've changed, they still have the capacity to be the Knight of Wands. They still have the capacity to be a player and be unserious. She kind of does need to remember past history, not just be hooked up on like, yes, but I really, they're acting different now, and this is wonderful. The universe urges her to say, but what will genuinely match you? With the Six of Pentacles. I mean, sure, if it can be them, if she can forget who they were once upon a time, if she's not ever going to hold that over them, or if she's not ever going to be worried or fearful, like, if I get together with them, but then am I going to always watch them like a hawk for signs of their cheating? I hope she doesn't do that to herself. If that is something that, because this is spying because you worry that they're a cheat, I mean, what a horrible life to condemn yourself to, that you're always going to be looking over your shoulder, watching them, having it in your head that, yeah, but I don't know that I can trust them. Oh, I love them. I want to be with them. They're so different, but I wonder if they're cheating. I'll just keep my eye on them for the rest of your freaking life. What a nightmare that would be. Sorry, that's just me speaking. I just wouldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Only because it would be so draining, you know? But if it's like, oh no, that was a whole different them, that was so many years ago, that was like we were kids, you know, whatever, we weren't really dating, it was, however, she's going to make peace with it. The universe is just saying you need to make peace with the past of who they are and ask yourself that really important question: is there a piece of you that's going to always have to watch them? And if so, is that okay with you? Otherwise, maybe give this new person a little bit more attention and consider somebody else who's trying to enter into your world. Know that they're not the only fish in the sea. Would you disappoint them, hurt their feelings if you don't pick them? Yes, but that's because they cheated on you once upon a time. I mean, look, I'm sorry to be so blunt, but in part one, we saw that they were a runaround because they weren't serious about anything. And I guess this is kind of like, yes, they will be very, very, very sad if she doesn't give them her full attention. And obviously, she's really leaning toward it. But the universe is like, I care about your happiness. Feminine, who do you want to be with? Are you really going to blow off meeting anybody else and just pick them because they act different now? We have the Devil and we have the Six of Wands. This is so hard for me to say, but if there's any little sliver of her that feels like, well, yes, they had toxic behavior, but they changed it all for me, and that feels really good, but then deep down she doesn't really believe that, and she's still going to think, I'll always just have to keep an eye on them. I think that could turn her toxic, is what this hints at. So this is just simply, I know it sounds like I'm advocating for like, don't go back, don't take him back. No matter how different he is, don't give second chances. And that is not what I'm trying to say. These are all questions the universe poses to her. If she can, ask herself those very, very, very tough questions. Would I feel like I got to spy on him, keep tabs on him to make sure he's not cheating? If the answer is like, no, I don't feel that way at all. Okay, we can get rid of those cards. All right. You feel like he could match you? Absolutely. Like he's a different person. Like it's a different timeline, different everything. Okay, then is there any part of you that worries that you're mostly worried that you disappoint him if you weren't with him? Hell no. He'll live without me if I chose that I didn't want to be with him. I'm not doing this out of guilt. And is there any part of you that thinks you're glad that you saved him and fixed him? No, I don't fix people. He did it himself. If he wants to be a better man, different man, whatever, he does that. I happen to like him. I'm going to pick who I want to pick. It just says, ask yourself, feminine, if you can answer those questions, perhaps, so that you can make sure that you're not setting yourself up for a disappointment, a failure, or something that you'll later on resent or be upset about. That's such a hard line of questioning because that's so raw, But on the other hand, remember, this is all about, she does have another choice. There is another option out there for her. There is another lover who she's not even giving any real attention or consideration to. And the universe is like, make sure that you know what you're doing, feminine. Make sure that you don't want somebody else. Make sure that you're picking him for all the right reasons and none of the wrong reasons. Otherwise, you could miss out on great happiness and choose someone that you'll never fully trust. Unless you can answer all those questions for your own self, those really, really, really soul-searching, tough ones. And then you can be happily ever after. It does not say what she's going to do. It doesn't, and we're not going to pry Empress because only she can answer those things. And there's no right or wrong. There's only, for her own happiness, where will her comfort zone be? On the other hand, if she's going to be like, oh, I could never trust him, but I don't want to be without him because then I'll be sad, then again, maybe she should go for it. But whatever is right for her, it's just, yikes, the universe just brought up some really intense questions for her to ask herself so that she can make the best decision for her own self. So she knows what she's doing, why she's doing it. there's so many things that we can forgive. You know, if somebody is like, oh my God, they were like a whole different person when they were younger, they were struggling, they were unserious. You know, that could have been something that she can totally forget and forgive entirely, because of circumstances, right? But only she knows the answer to that. All right, I'm going to leave this one here. You guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Really good to see you guys. Every character has to choose, right? Small TV, great to see you. Hi, Leah, Ginger Montague, Nocturnal Miss So, TKDA Don Kelly. Wonderful to see you. Air Goddess, hi. Labyrinth, Kayla, thanks for being here. Rare Lestrange, Slay Princess, Decoded, Annette. Thank you guys. Hey, Octopus. All right, everybody, have a great evening. Lots of love. I will see you guys. Actually, I'm still going to do the Gemini video right after this also. But I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye.